Dear readers, what clues do authors leave that readers can use to bring characters to life? Love, Miss Courtade. Now, yesterday, we talked about how when we're reading, we want to notice when feelings change, and then we want to change our voice to show how characters are feeling. Well, today, we're going to look at this question. What clues do authors leave that readers can use to bring characters to life? Now, the other day, I was listening to someone read a book out loud, and I got lost in the story. I almost forgot where I was. I felt like I was on the pirate ship with the kids, and I was feeling so nervous about what would happen next. I realized that I felt like I was part of the story because of how the person was reading the book. She was an expert reader. We can all be expert readers too. We can use the clues the author gives us to know exactly how the author wanted the book to sound. Can you help me figure out what these clues are? So we're going to work together. We're going to read Upstairs Mouse, Downstairs Mole. And as we read, we want to investigate what clues the author leaves. What kind of things help the reader know how the story should be read? Now, if you have a piece of paper and a pencil nearby, when I'm reading, I want you to write down any clues that you notice that the author uses in writing the book to let us know how the character is feeling. Let's take a look inside. I'm going to read you the first chapter. The first chapter is called Clean and Tidy. Mouse and Mole are neighbors. Mouse lives in a house inside an oak tree. Mole lives in a hole under the house of Mouse. Every morning, Mole swept his hole. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Mole liked his hole nice and tidy. Every evening, Mouse swept her house. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Mouse kept her house nice and clean. But when Mouse swept her house, the dirt went below into Mole's house. This made Mole angry. He knocked on Mouse's door. Tap, tap, tap. Evening, Mole, said Mouse. Evening, Mouse, said Mole. Did you know that when you sweep, all your dirt goes down into my hole? I sweep my place nice and tidy in the morning, but by evening, it needs to be swept all over again. If you sweep in the morning, said Mouse, and then again in the evening, why, you have twice as much work as I do. That does not seem fair. Together they sat down on the stoop. Mouse twirled her tail. Mole rubbed his snout. I have an idea, squeaked Mouse. She told Mole her new plan. They shook paws. Good night, said Mouse to Mole. Good night, said Mole to Mouse. The next morning, when Mole woke up, he did not sweep his hole. Tweet, tweet. At 12 o'clock sharp, he grabbed his broom and knocked on Mole's door. Tap, tap, tap. Good afternoon, said Mole to Mouse. Good afternoon, said Mouse to Mole. Mouse ran to fetch her broom. Together they swept Mouse's house until it was nice and clean. Why, it only took us half the time it takes me to sweep my house, said Mole. Next they marched downstairs and swept Mole's hole until it was nice and tidy. Together it had taken less time to sweep both places than it took for each of them to do just one. That was fast, said Mole. Our houses are clean and tidy, thanks to you. Now what? I've been thinking of a garden, said Mouse. Outside, Mouse and Mole circled the tree. Mole rubbed his snout. Where should we put it? How about in back, said Mouse, twirling her tail. Then we will have a backyard. Good thinking, exclaimed Mole. First, they dug up a patch of grass. Next, they raked the dirt until it was soft. Mole dug a row of holes. Mouse dropped a seed into each one. Then it was Mouse's turn to dig and Mole's to plant. Back and forth they went until the garden was finished. "Whew," said Mole, "that was hard work." "But only half as hard, thanks to you," said Mouse. They decided to take a nap. Mole went down into his hole. Mouse went inside her house. Both were much too tired to bother with the dirt they tracked into their clean and tidy homes. Now, I'm hoping that you have a list of things that you noticed, or let's call them clues, that authors leave to help the reader know how the story should be read. Now, I made a list, and I want you to compare your list with my list that I made. It says, what clues do authors leave that readers can use to bring characters to life? Well, the first one I put is exclamation points. Now, we know that when we see an exclamation point, we need to change our voice. Maybe the character feels excited or happy, or maybe they feel really angry. So we know that the exclamation point makes us change our voice and read differently. We also have these things called italics. Italics are when the words look like they're slanted to one side, and italics mean that we might want to use a stronger voice when we read the words in italics. Same with bold words. Bold words are those dark words. They also mean that we want to use a stronger voice because the character must be having a stronger feeling with those words. Capitalized words are words where the author uses all capital letters to write the words. That is a signal that we should also use a stronger voice because maybe the reader is excited or maybe they're feeling angry or frustrated. Commas, here's an example of a comma. A comma is a clue from an author that we should take a pause when we're reading, just a short little pause. Ellipses are these ... Ellipses are often left at the end of a page to provide a little suspense for what's coming on the next page. Also, there are words that pop. These might be words that are kind of put in like a little explosion shape, and we know that we also need to make our voice stronger when we read those words. And then, of course, we also need to pay attention to the dialogue. Dialogue is when the characters are talking. We can tell just by what the characters are saying how they feel. So I wrote this. "I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. I made you sad." Well, I know that if somebody is sorry and they feel terrible, they probably have kind of a voice where they are apologizing. So let me try to read that again. "I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. I made you feel sad." So all of these are clues from a writer or from an author that help readers know how the story could be read. Does your list look like mine? Maybe you have some extra things on your list. Maybe you noticed more than I did. I'm hoping that you all have a really impressive list. So these are the clues that the author gives you so that you can become an expert reader and bring the book to life. By paying attention to all of these clues, you can make your voices sound the way the author imagined. Today and every day when you read, pay attention to the clues like punctuation at the end, punctuation in the middle, special print, dialogue, and pictures to read like an expert and bring the book to life. Off you go, readers.